Another day, and I've just arrived. As usual, my priorities are normally to get the fire going and get the kettle on. Mike hasn't arrived yet. He should be here anytime soon. And today we're going to do lots more improvements to the shelter. We're going to be improving the roof. So we're going to put in more supports, and we're also going to gather quite a lot more bark for the roof. Remember, we're making a bark roof. So I think Mike's on his way here because I can hear Amber barking, and there must be someone on the other side of the woodland walking this way. Anyway, while she's barking at Mike, I found this the other day and I put it aside thinking this could make a nice coffee table of some sort. So I think the first project I'm going to do today is turn this into a coffee table. So you can see it's very roughly cut. There's bits on the back, there's a bit there. So I'm just going to trim it up. Once I've trimmed it up, I'm then going to go over there to the woodland where there's lots of trees that have been cut down and look for the perfect table legs. I'm only going to use, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one section of the tree, so where the trunk goes up and branches off, I'm going to look for the trunk and then 3 branches. So I can cut the trunk, cut those 3 branches, turn it upside down, so those 3 branches become legs, which I'll then pin this down onto, and that'll be a removable coffee table. So as I mentioned, today's plan is to collect as much bark as we can and also collect rafters. So we need around 20 rafters, around 3.5 meters long. And this woodland is full of resources. There's loads of trees here, there's loads of dead trees, fallen trees, upright trees, dry standing, and lots of live trees as well. Anything that kind of is at an angle is usually quite dead. Another way of spotting dead wood, oh, there's another helicopter. Another way of spotting dead wood is just finding a tree that looks like the bark's struggling on it, similar to this. Right, what did I say about the helicopters? Anyway, this is behind the scenes, so we just carry on. This is the sort of tree we're looking for. You can see the bark is completely different from the colour of all the other trees around here. Just to confirm, I'm going to look up and make sure there's no leaves. I know for a fact this tree is dead. Now we need to get this tree down on the ground, measure it out, cut what we need, take it back to camp. So just so you know, Mike's dad, Graeme from TA Fishing, he's also doing a behind the scenes episode of this build, so go and check him out. Sometimes it takes a few minutes getting these shots set up. I'm using a gorilla pod. It's basically a tripod that can grip to anything. So I've got it gripped to this tree. Perfect. Are we ready?
We're ready.
This tree, that way.
There.
Yep. Oh. We've done 6 like that. That's the 7th, and that was the hardest one to do. Because they're dry, they're dead, the root system is normally rotten, and a little push and it falls over. That took a bit more effort. So at this point we just quickly delimit, just with our shoes or hands, and we cut what we need, take it back to camp. See this tree? This one's next. Perfect. So we might even be able to get 2 out of this length. This is a nice length. You can see how dead this is because all of these branches have died, they've got no leaves on them, and you can quite easily just kick them off with your feet. That's 8 down, about another 12 to go. Remember, this is dead, dry, standing wood. We're not cutting any fresh trees down. The whole project, we've been using dead wood. That's the idea.
Good.
What a dude. So if you were to ask us what's the most time-consuming part of building this, it's probably the getting the bark, sourcing the bark, stripping the bark. Sometimes the bark comes away really easily, sometimes it's very hard to get the bark off. It's usually the fresher bark is harder to get off than the older bark. The older bark is somewhat dried and almost fallen away from the main trunk, but the fresher bark, it seems pretty hard to get off. This is what we've got so far. And yeah, it's quite hard. It's time consuming, that's for sure. You'd think.
Yeah, we could live.
Hello. How's that bit going, Mike?
Not bad. It's hard to tell because you get near a knot and then it splits, which is quite frustrating. But it's just, I was saying it's hard to tell which logs are good, isn't it, to use and which logs
Yeah,
are...
sometimes you think, oh, that'd be perfect, but it seems like the ones that are lying down on the ground, in amongst the wet ground, seem to be better. Oh look, that's coming away nicely now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. This is quite a good one. It's very satisfying when you
It
get
is.
a real good one like that.
But then when it just breaks and rips, it just destroys you.
I know, it's soul destroying. Oh.
It's a bit rotten on this bottom side. It might have knots and holes and splits and cracks in it, but if we layer it strategically, then hopefully we'll be able to divert the rain, send it away from the shelter rather than drip into the shelter. Can you drag that with that? We're just walking down through the woodland to the other side of the woodland where there is one of two lakes. So this woodland has got two lakes, and this one right here, lovely little lake. There's a few fish in here, not many though. I'll just turn the camera around and show you. Amber loves it down here.
It's nice when you get a picture like this. Yeah. Because I know that's, you know,
But it's so,
made
yeah,
up and
yeah.
it's got pink in it.
Oh, yeah.
So look.
It's going to look great, it's just the time spent to do it.
It's very time consuming. You right, Amber? Get it! Get it!
Yeah, you need that. That's the best stuff when it's like that. The pink stuff's hard.
It's hard with better protection.
Thicker
Wearing
bark,
it,
yeah,
that
thicker
white
bark.
stuff. Way better, but boy, is it hard to come off.
Pink seems fresher, it's harder to get off.
That's what I mean, the more rafters you have, the less dirt. And it's
So now it's time to get these rafters up. But before we do that, we're having a cup of tea. So we're just doing a dry run with these rafters. And the plan now is to burn the ends of them to make sure that they don't absorb any water or any moisture. And as you know from the previous episode, the burning of the ends of the sticks or the wood that goes into the ground, it preserves it for, well, maybe a few years longer than it would do if they weren't burnt. So the plan now, dry run with the rafters, get a fire going, and then burn the ends. fire. So this is the dry run with the rafters. So we've got roughly 5 or 6 rafters per section, and each side has 2 sections, so 1, 2. Got the fire going over there, so we can burn the bottom ends of these rafters. We're just burning the ends. Every so often they need a turn. Sorry about the shaky camera situation. Just give them a turn, make sure they'll burn on the ends. And as I was saying earlier, it just preserves them a little bit longer. Whether it's 5 minutes or 3 years, I don't know. But it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, see, the end of this is just burnt off there.
That needs a little bit longer on that side. This one, a little bit longer on the end. Oh, it's quite hot over here.
That's warm. Yeah, the camera was about to catch fire. That was very hot.
It's like cooking giant chicken skewers on a big fire.
But a big kebab.
Big kebab. Right, that was looking good. So this is the idea with the bark. We're going to pin it to the wood and work our way up. So Mike, do you like that ladder I made a few months ago?
It's finally coming into use.
Finally.
It's been sitting in the woods for like 6 months.
Today has been a really good day. It's been a very productive day. It's been quite hard work collecting all the bark. There's loads of bark right down here just beneath me. We'll have to collect a lot more next time. We've got quite a bit of bark collected already. I would say possibly around 70% of what we need for the whole project in order to tile the roof with our cedar bark. You can see these rafters that we've been doing today. We've burnt the bottoms off. We're just putting a few nails in the top. We've done one side now. Now next time we come, we need to do the other side. But that'll be in the next episode.
In here, 2 benches either side. The raised bed over there, which I'm still working on, it's not finished. But you can see that I basically used some dowels here.
Well, we're losing light, and that's about it for episode 4. Thank you very much if you've been watching the whole behind the scenes series. Don't forget, you guys obviously do, check out Mike's channel, TA Outdoors. Check out Mike's dad's channel, Graeme, TA Fishing. He's also been doing it behind the scenes. And yeah, join us next time. It's going to be absolutely awesome, as it usually is. It's really starting to come together now. The next episode, we're going to be putting lots of bark on, working our way up from the bottom, so it all overlaps like roof tiles. And yeah, it won't be long before we'll be doing overnighters here, and I absolutely can't wait. Until then, don't forget to subscribe. Cheers, guys. See you next time. Don't forget to subscribe.